Gotta get us on the
Okay,
street.
okay.
Call the supervisor meeting.
Call to order now, yep.
Because you don't see any picture on the screen, the audio is still working, video is out right now. Begin with a moment of quiet, silent prayer and then pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, we have Supervisor Godwin absent.
No, Gonring is on. He's on Zoom.
He's on Zoom.
Yep. Guzzi's on Zoom too.
Supervisor Kelly is going to be late. Anybody else missing?
Guzzi is on Zoom. Everybody else should be here.
Okay. All right, affidavit of posting is as posted. We'll begin with a brief statement under personal appearances, letters, and other communications. This statement is for the benefit of the county board and the public. There will be no further discussion on the subject this evening, and questions will not be taken. An incident occurred prior to the administrative committee meeting on March 9, 2022. It has been alleged that Supervisor Mahalik carried a concealed weapon while attending the meetings held in the third floor training room within the sheriff's department that evening. It is also alleged that Supervisor Mahalik's CCW permit was expired at the time he was carrying a concealed weapon. The county attorney's office determined that a potential conflict exists to the extent that they are not in a position to directly advise the county board with regard to this matter. The county board takes this matter very seriously, as there is concern that Supervisor Mahalik's conduct amounts to a breach of the public trust. It is understandable that there may be questions as to the cost to the county and therefore the taxpayer as a result of this alleged incident and the ensuing investigation. In an effort to be transparent, the county has retained Andrew Phillips of Atolis Law. Attorney Phillips' fees range from $240 to $325 an hour. The Washington County Attorney's Office will assist Attorney Phillips when possible to defray the cost, but Attorney Phillips will ultimately advise the board as to any action that needs to be taken. Many of you know Attorney Phillips as General Counsel for the Wisconsin Counties Association. He has extensive experience in this area of law. Attorney Phillips' knowledge and experience is key to keeping this matter on track and avoiding costs that may arise from unnecessary delays. Our goal is for this matter to be dealt with quickly, efficiently, and with integrity. If council determines that further action needs to be taken in the form of proceedings to remove Supervisor Mahalik from office under Chapter 17 of the Wisconsin statutes, the county board will receive a complaint, hear the facts, and vote on removal. This is a 2/3 vote. In order to maintain the integrity of the investigation and potential proceedings, no further information will be released at this time. It is important for the county board to refrain from prejudgment in the event they are called to vote on removal. Supervisor also asked to refrain from commenting publicly at this time pending investigation. Also keep in mind, county board actions are completely separate from any criminal charges referred to the district attorney. Again, there will be no further discussion on the subject this evening, and questions will not be taken. Move on to consideration upon request reading and resolutions and ordinances. Resolution 2089, second transfer from the general fund to authorize additional county matching funding for the golf parks and trails endowment fund. Entertained motion. Supervisor Bossert. Supervisor Shmisek. Any discussion on the matter? Any questions? Go ahead.
When we started the fund, did we consider doing additional funding to matching funding from the county?
Yeah, we did talk about that with the board, about that, we talked about matching it. This will bring, once we have this in place, it'll raise the amount given to the parks from about 100,000 per year to about 145,000 per year. So it's gonna give them quite a bit more from the interest from
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Supervisor
So
Gelson?
this was 250, right? Are we considering more in the future, or could we consider more in the future? Or are we required to?
We could go up to, we could go between
Questions,
two
sorry.
fifty and 500,000, depending upon how much they put towards it, so. In the matching funds. Pop it up here.
You want me to comment? Don, do you want?
Yeah, Jamie, you can speak to that.
So that's a really good question. I think the resolution is written for an additional 250,000 matching. But I'm sure that if the county board wanted to suggest, beyond that, I don't know what the financial implications of that are, or if the DOA has considered that. But this was for an additional 250 match to an additional 250 raised by the private sector.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, any other questions?
Is there,
More questions?
is there a maximum envisioned?
Right now, we're looking at matching that. They said they will be able to match that. Do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So the latest from the fund, so the fund has receipt of, so in the bank, $1,073,000 from the private sector. Thus triggering the county's transfer of our initial commitment, which was $1,250,000. So in addition to that, they have 200,000 of signed pledges for this year. So that would take the private sector amount up to $1,273,000. Wait, did I get that right? $1,273,000. They have a couple of large asks that are still out in the community, of which the incentive for us to match that is a big, the donors people raising the money are saying that the additional 250 incentive to match these offers is an incentive that those donors are looking for in order for them to basically get those pledges collected or get those potential donors to commit their funding. Does that make sense? So the maximum, to answer that question, would be right now, the maximum the county would have contributed would be a total of 1.5 million. The 250 we already transferred plus the 250 that we are moving to match if the donors raise additional money. Absent Supervisor Gallutz's question, which I think was, would we continue to want to match this above and beyond?
Supervisor Mary?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just like to make a personal comment. I think this is a phenomenal example of the public and government, the county government working together for the betterment of our community, looking forward literally generations to come. And I commend everybody involved, particularly they got in touch with Supervisor Krebs many, many months ago, and that kind of got this ball rolling. I know there have been a number of meetings and a lot of discussions. And I think this is just a phenomenal opportunity for us to work with the private sector for the benefit of everyone in the county. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Krebs?
I was just going to echo the same comments as Supervisor Mary. What a great success story of just the public, personal people, and also businesses stepping up to the plate here, and just really, it's a great story, and you don't get these all the time, so we should really be proud of this.
And I do too want to give kudos to Brian. He's really the one who started this. A simple phone call and some questions, and he drove the discussion. It's kind of cool where we can get public and the private working together like this. It's doesn't happen all often, but we'd like to make it happen as much as we can. So thanks.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Entertain a motion to amend something previously adopted, 2021 Resolution 88. Need a motion? Motion by Newman, second by Bosco. Questions, concerns? Supervisor Mahal?
Thank you. This is taking it back up to the percentages before, correct? 6.1.
No, it's actually being presented as a 4 all the way across the board for sure. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. And what that does, and Director Scott, you want to speak to that? What that does financially?
Sure, so.
No. We got a motion and a second, so we can.
Well, first to reconsider, and then.
It's not a motion for reconsideration. This is a little bit different, and I'll explain now that you've raised the question about that, Supervisor Marquardt. But a motion to reconsider would be out of order based on our code, because the way the code is written, a motion to reconsider is in order at the meeting where a motion or a decision is made, or within 2 business days afterwards. So when that's no longer available, the next motion you would make would be something called a motion to amend something already adopted. This is a motion of first impression, so unlike a motion to reconsideration where you vote to reconsider, and then if that passes, then the issue comes back before the body. This is strictly a motion to amend what you already adopted. So there's no need to have 2 votes. This is strictly, are you going to amend the resolution that was adopted by substituting different numbers?
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome.
Okay.
One follow-up question. How does that work with the county executive then not acting on what's already been voted on? Now we're amending something previously adopted. Right?
If the motion, this is exciting stuff for. This is so it's very exciting. So if, for example, the motion would fail tonight and the motion that was adopted stands, because the county executive has taken no action on it by the close of the meeting today, that resolution stands adopted and cannot be vetoed. If this one, if the amendment passes this evening, then it goes to the county executive for action, whether he signs it or vetoes it or changes it.
There's a clock that he has to review and
Right.
have to reject it,
Right.
reject and restart over.
Exactly.
So, did I hear that right, that if we do not approve this, the county executive cannot veto it?
If the original resolution stands tonight, the county executive cannot veto it, because under the law in terms of veto, he has to either sign it or veto it by the time the county board, on the day the county board would meet again, which is today. So if by the conclusion of this meeting, he has taken no action on it, then it would stand if you leave it untouched.
Okay.
So.
Supervisor Mahal?
Thank you. Just as a clarification, I know you were going to get up before and talk, so that would be great. Could you just stratify the differences between the total percentages after 4 years? So obviously 4 is 16. Okay, and then what the one that we had amended represents as a total percentage increase, and the one that was actually originally put forward by the county executive and the county board chair as far as the total percentage after 4 years. If you could do that, I think that would give us a matter of, if you will, of comparison that we'd be able to look at.
Sure. So a couple things. First, so this is consistent with what we've done before at the 75th percentile. So our elected officials, what's been voted on by our county board before is to maintain that 75th percentile for elected officials, which is what you received last time. This would be going back to the 75th percentile, which I think the information that you have in front of you shows that. It would be doing 4% across the board, so 16% over a 4-year window. I believe, I'm not sure what sheets they received. Michael, did
They got the updated one with the 4 across the board.
Right.
Okay, but they didn't get like the chart?
No, they didn't get the chart, just
Okay. All right, that's fine. So basically, the difference between the two diagrams, the one was the sheriff would get 6.5% and then 3% thereaafter. The clerk of courts stayed the same, both in the old chart and this one, so there was no change there. So like 3, 9%, 16.5.
15.
Right, 15.5.
So it's actually higher, that we're going higher after 4 years.
Percentage-wise, but not dollar-wise. So the difference between the two, in both cases, the sheriff would at that point get up to that 16th, the 75th percentile at the end of the 4-year window. The initial allowed the sheriff to get closer to the 75th percentile in year 1, and then gradually get there by the end of year 4. This allows the sheriff to get there more gradually, but at the end, still at the 75th percentile. The difference between the two is that in the old one, the sheriff would have been at, and I don't have it directly in front of me, but actually I can find out in about a minute and a half.
Tomorrow won't work, but Friday, good.
Maybe 2 minutes. So in the first one, where we had the sheriff at the 6.5, 3, 3, and 3, the sheriff would have been just slightly below. Is that it? So at the initial proposal, 6.5, 3, 3, and 3, the sheriff would have been at 134, 552, and the 75th percentile was 135, 004. With this proposal, the sheriff will be at 135, 257. In 2026, the 75th percentile is 135, 004. So just slightly above, so you're within a few dollars here and there. So slightly more than what he would have been under the other proposal. You're correct.
This proposal allows us to be more consistent with what we've done in the past with all of our employees, maintaining that 375 percentile. I mean, this brings it up a lot slower. I think a lot of people were taken aback by the 6.5% right away. We catch up right away. This catches up on a gradual basis. It's actually less total money expenditure by like $600 total, but notwithstanding, it's being consistent. This has been policy for us that we've adopted. This is setting a precedent that we're looking at one of our constitutional officers and not following suit as we have done with all the rest. So singling that one person out. So, but that's what we're trying to accomplish here.
Okay, yeah, my question was gonna be the why we were revisiting this, but I think you essentially just answered that. Because we want to be consistent and set a precedent.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Hearing none, we can vote on this. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Raise your hand.
Can you tell me who that is?
Mark Cord.
Mark Cord, no.
Motion passes. So that's. All right. Okay, so we don't bring that up and vote on it.
Right.
Okay. I just want to make sure this is like something brand new, so. Okay, our next meeting date will be Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 at 7:30 a.m. You can go to that, it's not going to be in the evening. If you come in the evening, it'll be too late. So, you're here by church. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Okay, so you have, all right.